Welcome in everybody to today's pick a card reading. I read tarot intuitively and sometimes energy. The theme of today's pick a card is going to be, what are your friends saying about you? So we have three groups to choose from. We have group 1 with the Rider-Waite, we have group 2 with the Neoteric Feminine Tarot, and we also have group 3 with the New Era Element Tarot. So you can take a moment to choose whichever group you feel the most drawn to. Timestamps are in the description box. All of my readings are timeless, so if you feel that you are not resonating or getting a service out of this video, you can always go back and look at a previously recorded or posted video and see if something there is more helpful to you. So that being said, we will get started with group 1. Okay, welcome in group 1. If you chose the Rider-Waite Tarot, then this will be your reading today on what your friends are saying about you. And I just immediately, as I was pulling cards, was getting a message about something here is like very unsavory, right? And we do have the devil coming out as well. The devil can talk about like, you know, attachments, toxic cycles, toxic habits. It can talk about codependency. It can talk about addiction. It can talk about like negative thinking. I actually got the word like impaired negative thinking. So take what resonates with this one, but it is also representative of Capricorn as well. And so obviously the things that I just listed are kind of going to be like the negative or imbalance in one aspect version of that particular card. That's definitely the stronger energy that I'm having come through, regardless of whether it resonates as like a Capricorn zodiacal, you know, matching placement for this person. But could be more the fact that there's sometimes like Capricorn can be associated with you know, your career, reputation, how you come about making your own kind of money or something like that. It can also be about like climbing the ladder. And Capricorn is known for, I don't know how to really explain it. It can almost be so focused on a structure or the rules or the getting there that there can sometimes be a disregard for other aspects, okay? So that being said, we'll just kind of park that. It looks like we have 8 of Swords, Queen of Cups, and the 3 of Wands. There's definitely somebody here who's not seeing either everything that there is to see, or is, I don't know, I sort of get it come through in like a very tumultuous energy. So I don't want to say it's like all bad or, you know, even on the positive side of average. But with this like tumultuous energy with the 8 of Swords, this person just may not really be ready to see or hear something that has sort of gone on or been said. There's something, for some of you, this could be you, like it could be a strong apprehension to want to actually open yourself up to hearing whatever this message may be. So this could talk a little bit about maybe knowing something has definitely happened in this connection at some stage. It feels like one particular connection. I mean, there could be a bit of a theme or a couple people here, but I genuinely feel like for most of you, it's just one specific person, okay? And there is like almost a tread lightly, not wanting to step on anyone's toes, not wanting to cut grass. I don't really know if the cutting grass thing is so much of a thing here. It's more like a not wanting to step out of place, not wanting to upset the apple cart. For some of you, it's like this person feels very bound by some sort of like mental trap as well. So they're definitely between like the devil and the 8 of Swords could be a level of like rumination or kind of like going around in circles in the mind, kind of feeling stuck in some sort of position or trapped or something like that, not knowing how to kind of break free or get out of this mentality or position that they're in, or I don't know, I have to say for some of you right now, this is like a person who actually wants a relationship with you. They want an attachment with you, and you could be boundaried or not open to it, or there could have been some water under the bridge here, that being the case. And so just want to take a moment to sort of go back to where we were, but I do feel like that's definitely a message for some of you here. I think there's something here where this person would need to actively demonstrate a level of like strong stability, security, and safety, even if they've always been like, you know, people can be like physically safe. Just because a person's not physically aggressive doesn't mean that they're necessarily a safe person, right? I think we all know that, especially, you know, if you've been watching these videos for a while. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work out that people can still be kind of malintented and just work through like weird social kind of aspects to be, or just like undermining and all sorts of weird things like manipulation and stuff. We're not really going into that too much, but I just need to highlight that emotional safety has to be present here as well. And it could even speak to people that even if they actually have no bad intentions whatsoever, let's say they're like, because it doesn't really feel like bad intentions. I don't know, just take what resonates for your situation. Like, you know it better than anybody else, but we're still not very deep in it just yet. So it's a little bit hard to tell, or it might be irrelevant, but you could still have people that have like really good intentions, and they just don't realize maybe their own fragility, their own potentially like overreaction or intolerance, or how they handle a situation could leave people feeling like they're walking on eggshells as well. So that could definitely be something here that needs to be kind of taken into consideration. This could be something that this person's definitely talking about as well. Okay, so like what your friend is saying. So, I mean, for some of you, they could be recognizing this about themselves, but I feel for most of you, this is what this friend is saying, okay? And for some of you, the person that they're speaking to could actually be like some type of kind of, could be like a person at their work or something like that. But I feel for most of you, it's probably someone who they're kind of in some type of like toxic attachment with. So it could be like, maybe they have a relationship or a friendship where they're just kind of continuing to play out those, I don't know, like, I don't know if I want to call it like toxic, but like codependent sort of cycles or subconscious kind of programming here where they haven't really totally broken away from it free themselves yet. So maybe the person that they're speaking to is a person who, even if it's like they're not like a bad person, they just don't realize their own level, like they're just not aware of their own consciousness or something like that. So they probably have, I want to say, I don't want to project here because I do feel like this group could kind of be split in two with the person that they're talking to. So it could be that they're saying this to two different people. One of these people seems like a person who is maybe like a person who just doesn't want to upset the apple cart with your friend who is talking to them. Like they kind of feel this apprehension in if they give them honest feedback. So that actually could be kind of representative of this being a characteristic that this particular friend kind of embodies with more than just your one-to-one connection. It could be something that, you know, multiple people in their life experience kind of when trying to navigate different situations with them. And there is what looks like a lot of feelings that may kind of like, may just be a lot, right, at once. And so there might be this whole like not really wanting to broach the topic because you know that there's going to be this whole swell of emotions or feelings or intensity or something that comes with it afterwards, and that you're going to have to wait for it all to kind of cool down or simmer down before you can kind of resume on the path. And so this person could, I don't know if I'd say that they get offended easily, but they just might not be able to think much outside of their circumstance or feelings or something like that at the time when when they're sort of met with something that does challenge that in a sense. Okay, they're also probably have like a particular goal that they're just trying to meet as well. So there does seem like, as much as there's like a level of like apprehension, and then there's like a being faced with kind of intense emotions, there's then like, or the backlash, or the, I don't know if there's, yeah, I'm just getting like a double confirmation on Capricorn, but we could also have Aries coming through. I'm just getting the ram sort of symbology coming through quite strongly. Okay, anyway, sorry, it was like very distracting. I felt like it was specifically getting through extra information. So anyway, so there's the apprehension. There's almost what feels like an emotional volatility, even if it's not very volatile. I don't know how to explain it, okay? Could be a person who just, when they have this all come up, they might, I don't know if I would say they would necessarily take it out on people, because I don't really feel like they would like do it intentionally, if that makes sense. But they might just have so much of it at once that they don't mean for it to kind of spill out everywhere or spill over in some sense. Anyway, but then it's like they kind of have something that they're focused on, so they just, it's like they just, I don't know if they cut off from their emotions or they park it to the side or something, and they just like remain fixed on whatever the goal is or whatever it is that they want to move towards. They could also, this person could have trouble keeping focused, keeping clarity, making up their own mind without others kind of getting in their mind. So there could be someone here who's actually has an agenda. I was sort of getting it before, and I don't really want to go into it because I wasn't sure how strong it was, but I don't feel like it's for everyone. Okay, so you really have to use your discernment with this one, because this friend that you were talking to, one of the people that they're talking to feels like they have an agenda in terms of, I don't know if it's a case that they would want to kind of speak over the top of someone. Like they wouldn't let someone say their full story. They wouldn't let them say their full point. They might want to change the subject or the topic, or they might want to, it's kind of like intercepting a thought or a feeling or a sentence before it's finished, and then it's like cut off, and then they then kind of pushing whatever it is that they want to over the top of it. Or, and it actually, I can't tell if it's kind of panicked, if it's meant to be a distraction, or if it seems more like they, I don't know if this person that they're talking to doesn't feel heard, or it's a case that they're trying to kind of push a point. Maybe that's it. It feels like they're trying to push a point with them in some sense, okay? Take what resonates for this. There could be a couple of you where the situation's kind of flipped, and so this is actually like what your friend is, kind of this person who's wanting to push a point, and maybe it's the other person that they're speaking to is kind of like treading carefully, trying to navigate it, kind of going back to that first scenario that we have. Whatever that looks like, I don't feel like anything here is super nefarious or insidious or anything. It's just people not realizing their own kind of patterns that might be playing out, their own level, like awareness of their consciousness, how their own thoughts and feelings are kind of affecting your situation. I feel like we're kind of starting to hit a wall, so I might just try to take some more cards. We've got two. I just like, you know, I pick up this deck and I'm like, all I can think is like, I don't want it to get nasty, but I just know sometimes when I pull out that deck that it can, I don't know, I shouldn't, we don't want to lay out any judgment. It's just sometimes it's like when you give the person the benefit of the doubt, it's not always like, credit's not always due where we think it is, or it's like sometimes giving people the benefit of the doubt is, we do it with people that maybe don't need the benefit of the doubt or something like that. Sugar-coated. Yeah, okay. So we have May, but we also have sugar-coated. So with Capricorn, Capricorn can speak of, I think it's like, what is it? January? and a little bit of December, like so the December into January. But we also have May here. So May could touch on, is it like Taurus and Gemini? And then it could, we're just going to leave that. Okay. So with sugar-coated, we have sweet but deceptive words, empty compliments, hidden insults, and too good to be true. Yeah, it's so weird because the way it all comes off to me, it's like nothing here is very bad. But what I'm kind of getting two things. On one hand, I'm getting this person who's like trying to navigate the situation in a way where they're trying to like be very careful and stuff. Like this would be a person who would be sugarcoating things that they say, or trying to dress it up, or beat around the bush a little bit because they don't want to come off too pointed or cause a conflict, or kind of had this person who has their emotions kind of spew out everywhere. They don't want to be kind of confronted with that. But then on the opposite hand here, it's like what, like a candy or I don't know, like a donut or something like that, whatever it is. And it's got like this sharp point, like almost like a harpoon kind of pointing out of it. And so there's definitely deception here, and like the devil can talk of deception as well. And like the Eight of Swords is just not seeing it. So it could be like a blindness to something that's being said, or an unwillingness to see it or acknowledge it. This person, there could be strong denial here about a situation, okay? So that being said, I'm kind of getting the energy here of something to do with the sun. So it's like illumination and clarification. Okay, but I want to see, I feel like we still need to take more cards. We got what's the tea as well, so yeah, crying over you, sad, upset, hurt. I mean, they could be just telling their friends how they thought that yeah, they could definitely be telling a friend of how they felt tricked or hurt from something that you said, while they are very upset about how it all played out or happened. I mean, whatever this was, could have come, like, sort of gone down in May, or what are we're in at the moment? It's March, so we've still got 2 months ahead of us before May hits again. Not that that has to matter. I wouldn't take it too seriously about the timing. Sometimes the timing's not real great. I mean, it could have been something about this person trying to say something with terrible timing as well. Or trying to say that your timing was bad or something. I just keep getting something about this person, can't see straight. But I think here, some of you, this is kind of like a divine intervention. Rejection is I was going to say protection. It was coming out projection. How wild's that? Just be careful. Just be very discerning with this reading, and just take what resonates, and just, you know, your situation, okay? Like, we need to be open and objective when we're looking at these things. But there's just too much here where I don't think people can see themselves clearly or properly. There is definitely a strong defensiveness and a need to keep oneself, I guess, protected or taken care of, or I don't know. Let me see. Maybe you've seen this play out before, okay? Like, it's not your first rodeo, whether it's with this person or watching these types of situations play out, okay? So the sign here where it's like, you could be being defensive, but you could actually also know better. And with the High Priestess, you could actually see a lot here, whether it's been said out loud or not. But I also feel like this right now could be really representative of people that are not actually having the conversation either. So we've now also brought Pisces, Virgo to the party. So with that, with Capricorn, potentially Taurus, Gemini, I mean, we could have all water signs at this rate, so we could throw in Cancer and Scorpio, but there's also something here where you may just have to kind of go on your own way for a while, or it could be going back to that divine intervention, rejection is protection, where spending some time on your own is going to kind of help clear up your own view of the situation. Or even if you already do see this quite accurately for what it is, because I feel for most of you do genuinely, but it might give this other person, this friend, some time to kind of clear up their own perspective or let things play out a little while as well. So yeah, I don't really feel like I want to come in kind of blazing guns and saying this person did this and you shouldn't talk to them or anything. I think it's just mindful. It's good to just be like mindful of any of the messages that come out and how we interpret them, how we use them in alignment with our own better judgment anyway. So that being said, we'll wrap this up here. Group 1, thank you for joining me. I hope this is helpful in some way. If it was, definitely like the video. If my videos are resonating for you and you haven't already, definitely subscribe, and I'll see you in another one. Take care. Okay, welcome in group 2. If you chose the Neoteric Feminine Tarot, then this will be your reading today. The theme of today's reading is, you know, what are your friends saying about you? But as I was saying it, I was actually getting that who can see you theme come through from one of the last picker cards that I have put out. I can definitely link that in the description box, but at least you know the title, so if it hasn't been linked in the time that you find this, then it's not too far. It should only be like maybe 1 or 2 videos ago. Anyway, there's something here. So this person could definitely be a person who is paying attention to what it is that you're doing, or they're watching you in some, it feels like kind of in an indirect way. So like my best example would be that yes, you are friends and they have direct contact with you, but they maybe also keep up with your social media or some sort of platform, or they are like, maybe this is like a person that you could like work with or something like that. So they could be, but you're like friends outside of work, so you could like see them at work, but then you could also or I would say, sorry, I'm like saying this the wrong way. It's like you could just be friends with them outside of work, but then they also see something at work. And I feel like it's, like I said, in an indirect way. So there could be something here where you could be friends with like a boss at work, and so they sort of see like reporting that might have your own stats on the reports in levels of like contributions or something. It kind of gives being friends with the manager or something like that. So this could be a person who you're friends with who is actually like in some type of like managerial position, someone that you have a history of working with or collaborating with, even if it's not necessarily super professional. And I don't mean that the nature of your relationship isn't professional. I feel like that's very much intact. Like there's a lot of strong ethics and integrity there. What I would say is that it would be like an informal work environment where you're kind of collaborating in an entrepreneurial way in some sense, or it could be like a community organization, something like that. I feel like we're really on a roll here, so this is actually great. There's a lot of streamlined, efficient, effective communication when you speak with this person. So I think there is something here. So like what this friend is saying about you is that you have some sort of goal, and they actually may see you lacking confidence, or they're saying this to whoever it is that they're talking to about you, is that you have this goal and it's like you might really want it, and you might have almost all bets on it, or you might be in a position where you're able to bet on it even if it doesn't really work out in some sense. But it might also make you feel very weird about having this goal. It's almost like having a goal that it's like there's a duality in terms of how you're aligned with it, or how it may make your ego feel, or whether it's a concrete plan, whether how sure you are about it. So even if you like really like the thing and you know that it could work out, it might make you feel very awkward to carry this goal. Like I don't know how else to say it. So I just, on that note, I feel like I kind of need to do like a broader generalization right now for this moment. So there is something here about being ambitious, diligent, goal-orientated, planner, consistent, star student, studious, grounded, loyal, faithful, and dependable. Feels very positive energy. So if this is a person that you've worked with before, they could definitely be saying that you have these attributes and characteristics. And this could be like, I feel like this person speaks of you on a higher note, at least in this conversation or proportion, this area of life anyway. Okay, so you could actually be maybe a kind of for some of you, it's like maybe you've got your path and you're just not really sure how to navigate it as well. So there could be like a sense of being a little bit lost or something, even though everything else here is like aligned very well, and that they know that you're very capable and that you could you can definitely do the thing. So you're either kind of, it feels like you're facing some sort of issue within your own self. And so I don't know how much they touch on that, other than maybe there's some sort of like confidence issue here. Maybe you feel a bit awkward. Maybe you're kind of going through the initial teething phase, or for some reason you just haven't quite kicked off just yet. There's something here. It doesn't even feel apprehensive out of anxiety. It feels like I've got it right here and I almost don't know what to do with it, or I feel a bit weird about it and I don't know, something like that. Okay, that being said, also something here about being single. So this person could be talking about you in terms of a potential romantic interest. So this could be a friend that actually kind of likes you. And so that Page of Pentacles, even though I feel like we've definitely got a couple of different situations coming through here, okay? Or keep in mind, they could all kind of blur together. So this could be a person that you work with, that you're friends with, that actually kind of has some sort of romantic interest, crush, or feelings towards you, in a sense where they genuinely are entertaining you and the idea of partnering with you when they're talking to this friend, and that's how they're kind of talking about you, and they're kind of admiring all these things about you and the reality of who you are as a person, which is actually nice that you could be seen realistically and not put on a pedestal or something stupid like that. So kudos to them. Okay, not saying they can see everything about you or whatnot, but I think there's a baseline realistic level. I don't know if it's dogmatic, pragmatic. I almost get like a bit of a Capricorn energy there. They're just taking it for what it is, okay? There's not going to be a big letdown here, if that makes sense. Anyway, and something here too is that they could have propositioned you, but I also feel like if this person propositioned you and it's a case that you weren't interested, you could have kind of pushed back, as in you weren't really ready. So it's like you are choosing your own time, or I don't know, some of you might not be happy with this person as an option, but I actually think for most of you it's not about that. I think for most of you, you probably just need your single time in between. Like you need your time to be with yourself, kind of make sure you fully let go from the previous relationships, so that you're not carrying anything into any new ones, and that you are very integrated like with who you are as a person. Like you're very authentic, you're very like who you are as a person is actually you, and it's not just the old hangovers from having melded together with the old person or anything like that. We're not taking old habits into new relationships if we can help it. I know it's not always something that's like totally in our vision or view or control. I'm sure that when we get put in that new next position or situation, that, you know, things can just rear ahead anyway. But it's like you're doing the best that you can from a healing, healthy, practical standpoint, focusing on what matters to you and getting yourself right. And I think this person actually finds it very amicable. But I think there's something here where it's also a little bit disheartening, because I don't know if this person sort of thought that there would be more reciprocity here than what there is, or that you might like them more enough to kind of put that aside, which in some ways, like I understand how that could feel for them, and why they may think, well, we don't know how long this person will be waiting and if they'll ever kind of change their mind. So they may, despite how much, because I feel like they actually think very, very highly of you, there could be something here where they may have to kind of evaluate letting go or not being so attached to the outcome here, and that could be kind of hard for this person to do. For some of you, this is how what they're saying about you to someone, but I do feel like, oh, we've got so many different things coming through, Kay. We also have this, like, when you release resistance. I mean, that aligns a lot with this, like, letting it go as well. Some of you, you're just going through a process of release, and it talks a lot about, like, it could have been still, I don't know, it is like a lot of releases in terms of, you know, old relationships and stuff, but it could be a release of, like, old habits that are just kind of die hard, that are like, it's no longer serving you, so it's like you're letting it go. This all seems pretty good, but I don't know, this person, on one hand, it's like they're entertaining a relationship with you and it actually seems very promising, and on the other hand, it's like they're not sure if they kind of should, because of maybe they've kind of harbored this for a long time. Maybe they have already, maybe they've already felt like this for a long time. Okay. Do we want to take more cards? Not really. I don't really want to wrap this up because I feel like there could just be other things here, but I'm not taking more cards, so I might just have a second look and just check if there's anything else. I feel like this is so quick. So good when we get the messages come through, just really clean and clear, but I feel like this person may have seen you become single and thought like, oh, now's my chance, but they're having to let go of the idea of that while you're kind of working through things. They could also just be like a focusing on the things that you enjoy and your lifestyle, and I don't know, trying new or different things or something like that. Some of you could actually be the people who are quite apprehensive to want to initiate or even entertain the idea of beginning something new because of everything. But it's like, because of that, it's like you're keeping yourself single or lonely. Like, basically, even if it's not those things, it's like you're just keeping yourself off the market, or you're being emotionally unavailable, or I don't know if emotionally unavailable is even the right word. I just feel like you're just keeping yourself off the market, and it's like you're making peace with things potentially not ever really going anywhere or working out with even just any one person, maybe just like relationships in general or something. And then there is something here where the timing's going to really flip when, I don't know, because when we speak about it in that sense, there's like when you release resistance. So like maybe some of you are kind of I don't know if I want to say like aggressively single, maybe not that, but maybe just the fact that you're just like very anti anything but being single for a while, where you're like really very strong in it. And because of that, it's kind of like when you release this resistance to and being open to the idea of a new beginning with someone, then it's like this person can finally give you this offer. I was getting the word trepidatious, so this person may actually be just kind of waiting for the moment, and that could be part of that like awkwardness. But I actually feel for some of you too, because this is like what a friend is saying about you, and we did kind of get that work theme come through with potentially a manager. So I mean, there could be someone that you work with or a manager position or senior position, something like that, supervisor, overseeing things. That could be this person with a romantic tie, but this also could actually speak to a person who wants to give you some type of work placement or a new job or something, and it's like you're abstaining from something here, and so they may be having to let go of the idea of getting you to work in that position. But I don't know if I can't tell with this group whether it's like a good thing or not a good thing. If you're actually going to, there's something here where it's like you could have a resistance to wanting to go back, to be open to things again. So yeah, a bit, yeah. All right, so yeah, it looks like that's what friends are talking about right now. It looks like you do have a lot of good things going on though, and it looks like you're probably quite at peace with yourself. And I think there's an acknowledgement of this person speaking highly about you and you being a person worth being spoken of highly. So that being said, that's actually everything I have for you for today's reading, group 2. Hopefully this is helpful to you all in some way, and I will see you in another reading. Take care. Okay, welcome in group 3. If you chose the new era element tarot, then this will be your reading today. I was actually getting something come through. I know that the theme of today's reading, like today's pick a card, is actually like what your friends are saying about you, but I was actually getting the line about who can see you. So that came out in a previous pick a card, maybe one of the last like 1 or 2 videos before this one. So that could definitely be one that would have a little bit of extra information. If you put the 2 together, that might help you kind of navigate this. But so first things first, I feel like I was getting something about what this person thinks and what they says are like 2 different things. So it looks like this person has watched you go through a period of judgment, potentially examination. There's a new beginning, but something about the new beginning looks very hard or kind of rocky or a little bit sharp or pointed, or there's the kind of analogy of like maybe being between a rock and a hard place. But I feel like there's something about it that's very promising. It also could be a new beginning that has a very solid foundation. Whatever that looks like for you, there could be like a level of abundance that has kind of opened up with this new beginning. Or maybe there's like a dream of a new type of abundance. So maybe we're not really there yet, but there's something here about it. I just have to say it looks quite promising, okay? Anyway, so there is something here too where you may be seeing things that are, I want to say for exactly what they are, and it could come off very kind of sharp and pointed to other people. Or this is like, so I just want to clarify, like, Spirit, is that what this friend is saying, or is this what they're thinking or seeing? Kind of get that this is what they're seeing or taking in, right? So there's something here that they've observed where it's like your observations could be quite realistic but quite cutting. So it's like accurate, but it's like no sugarcoating at all, or you're really seeing things for exactly what they are. Like there's no rose-colored glasses here, if that makes sense. We also have a card I can't show just because YouTube, but it's like, it's the 3 of Swords, but it's also labeled grief. And so there definitely could have been like some type of it feels like this new beginning has this grief in tow or something like that. So you could still be quite hurt, you could still be going through a kind of hard time, you could still be I don't know, sad or dealing with like the remnants of a betrayal or a heartbreak or something like that. But it seems like the grieving energy is the biggest thing. So you're still just maybe in a period of grieving. And it's like this situation has helped you take the rose-colored glasses off. You've got this new beginning. Everything's actually looking pretty good despite what it is. And I'm not trying to like invalidate or not acknowledge how bad things could have been, but rather the fact that like maybe with where you are right now, what you've gotten to, like how far you've kind of come, if that makes sense. I feel like there's a great acknowledgement here of either work that you've done, put in, or how far you've come, or the current position that you're in, something like that, where my underlying feel, maybe you feel good about it, because it is like a feeling that I'm having come through, but it does, like, I know that we're talking about what this person's sort of taking in about you, but I don't, this feeling I'm getting feels like an undercurrent. Like it doesn't really feel like something that they're taking in, that it maybe looks as promising. I don't know, it seems a bit more surface level, which makes sense, right? Because when people are experiencing us or interactions, you know, in connection, they don't always like understand our perspective or can't always place themselves in our shoes. I'm not saying that this person's like a person who wouldn't do it if they couldn't. It's rather just the fact that there's like a bit of a lack of understanding. It seems like 2D as opposed to 3D, if that makes any sense. Anyway, so like seeing something a bit more surface level, but there is a particular level of neutrality here. I don't know how far it goes, okay? I did hear calling a spade a spade. So that sounds like something that or is something that they're saying. Yeah, that's something that they're saying to whoever it is. So this is what friends, is it friends? One more? It seems like multiple friends are kind of seeing this or saying this, right? So multiple friends are definitely saying there's some type of neutrality here. They're definitely saying that there's some sort of like realistic view of the world, and having this kind of, I don't know if you say things cutting or if you're just seeing things with such precision and like pure accuracy. It's kind of crazy, okay? Anyway, this new beginning looks good. There's acknowledgement of like a bit of a past history of grieving or some sort of sadness or betrayal that's kind of, I don't know if it's just like lingering, like it's a bit residual, like it's kind of one of those things sometimes we go through, like life events that they make such a massive impact or lasting change as upon who we are as a person or the situation that we are left to deal with moving forward, that you can't really pretend they didn't happen, right? So something like that. Anyway, and it does seem like this person is watching you. Like we did talk about the watching and the, like, what they're saying about you. Kind of getting something funny here where I was getting the energy before because I actually did sit down and start pulling these cards, and then my storage was full, and it's been the battle of the last like 2 or 3 videos is having full storage. So I'm trying to sort it out. But it was like I was getting something about this person just watching you like too much or with too much attention to detail, as in this person is kind of like putting so much emphasis on you, or like watching you and the choices that you're making, right? Where they're actually not as concerned with themselves as they should be, or they're not going internal as much as they should be, or it's like they're just paying too much attention to you and your life choices. It's like it almost gives me a little bit of an energy of a person who kind of simultaneously wants to live a little bit vicariously through you. They'd never admit it. I don't think their ego would be happy if they actually acknowledge that's what they're doing. I think there's a level of them that they're so curious that they can't take their eyes off you or stop paying attention or stop being nosy or whatever that is. It doesn't feel nosy in like a negative way. It's just like they're so intrigued kind of thing, but there's a strong level of judgment here as well. So it's like, I think this would be the type of person who would kind of use you as a benchmark in comparison to their own life or decision making, or how they're oriented as a person, in terms of like philosophy, morals, virtue. Judgment seems to be coming through really strongly. Like we do have the judgment card here, but I'm actually feeling the energy kind of quite strongly, in terms of like how they stack up in the world, how you stack up in the world. It doesn't feel super competitive. Okay, I want to correct that. It doesn't feel malintended. It doesn't feel like there's agendas or anything. This person could be a little bit competitive, just by nature, but maybe in a healthy way, if that makes sense, or it's not like a massive thing. There's not like a whole heap of like ego, like envy or jealousy or anything. It's more like, and this person, even if that come up, I don't feel like it really does. But even if it did come up, I don't feel like they'd ever kind of do something undermining or, you know, behind the scenes to try to get you. It's not like that. It feels quite clean. It's just there's probably too much focus, attention, and judgment on you and the choices that you make, as opposed to just paying attention to their own life, really. Anyway, so There is something here where I think this person feels like their judgments are quite upright in their moral. And it feels like they probably have quite a lot of allowance for themselves as a person. But maybe there's something here where it's like they're not aware of allowance in other people's situations or something. This is a bit weird. I'm not really sure how to articulate it or quite put my finger on it, so we'll move on, and we'll come back to that if it kind of comes up again. Okay, so we also have King of Swords. So I think there's something here where this person is saying, or these people in general are saying, that you actually could be quite articulate, you could be an effective communicator, quite logical, seeing the truth, kind of like what we mentioned for exactly what it is, and seeing things for what they are and being quite neutral. I heard like fair and balanced, but there could be something here as in like good with holding boundaries, like you're not afraid to call a spade like we talked about. And there could be a level of like experience here where it has to be acknowledged that you have good judgments of situations, and there's something here of people just may not understand it because it's kind of elevated in a sense, if that makes sense, right? There could be some type of like toxic habits, addiction cycles, or things that you do that might be more of like a coping mechanism here that people are not understanding from the outside view. So it's something here where you may actually come off very lost and very like kind of emotionally lucid, or lost in the emotions or lost in the source, or like you kind of seem like you're quite aimless. I mean, take this if it's true as well. This is part of what they're saying. But it feels like, I guess in some sense, they may be trying to say, I don't know, it's weird because they're acknowledging, they're saying that you have this impeccable judgment and seeing things for what it is, but it's like, for whatever reason, you can't kind of get yourself straight or orient yourself well in some sense. So this could be like they're seeing you make choices, they don't understand them. It seems like it's through a lens of just trying to cope with whatever this like emotional hangover or the messes that you've been left with. And it might not even be that bad either, which is kind of the thing that I'm getting. It's like they're almost watching some sort of psychological coping mechanism play out, and I don't even think you're like ruining lives or anything. I think it can be really messy at times, and it could be kind of there could be moments where they see certain aspects play out and they could actually feel really bad for you, or they could just wish for you that you were able to pull yourself out of it in some sense. But I don't think they it's kind of like I want to say like a judging you for being in it in the first place anyway. I don't even know if that's right either. I think it's like they're trying to articulate like very intricate details where they're like really reading into it. And remember, I did say it's like this person's paying too much attention to you, okay? So there's something here where it's like, I think they acknowledge that like you being in the position that you're in, it's like totally valid. What you went through was like really shit. It all makes sense. Like it stacks up. They can see how it's like really fair and reasonable for you to have, considering the positions that you've been put in and everything, kind of have experience what it is that you're experiencing. There could be an essence here where they think that you're staying there too long, or they can't fathom or understand the way that this coping kind of mechanism comes about, because they haven't kind of been pushed to that brink or limit, or when they cope, they have a different style of like coping mechanism or something like that. I think there's an essence here where it's like they are trying to say that you're imbalanced, like they may be saying that you're too far deep in it. Or something like that. You can't get yourself out of this spot. It seems like maybe they're trying to say that you can't help yourself or something like that. And I mean, if there is like kind of themes of addiction here, that can definitely all go hand in hand. But it's like they're maybe not so aware as there's not so much acknowledgement of the cycle that is playing out at hand. And there could be a level of growth here that they're just not seeing because it's like not so obvious on the surface, okay? So there's something here where you might be like regulating, you might be, I don't know, do you know what it makes me think of? And I know I kind of have random stuff like this coming out in my readings all the time, and there's 100 other things it could be. I'm 100% not qualified to speak on this stuff. If I get the message, I pass it on. Please don't make it fit if it doesn't. Please don't go and overthink it or think maybe there's more wrong with me than I thought or anything like that. I'm only saying this particular part as a potential extra confirmation for those of you've already been and got a diagnosis and you 100% know it's a thing, and it's just like an extra tick of resonance, okay? If I say this and there's questions around it, I would probably put this particular part to the side because it's maybe not going to be for everyone. But it makes me kind of think of OCD, or it doesn't have to be OCD, but I guess like the best way I could explain it is like even like with trauma type situations where we could like really cling to certainty or structure or routine or specific habits or things that is, I had it come up in the last reading as well with like relief seeking behaviors kind of thing. So just take what resonates for that. I don't really want to read into it too much. It's like I said, an extra tick of confirmation and we'll move on. But in terms of coping, it's like there could be a level of seeing a rigidity, and that's okay. And I think maybe at times they kind of are in parts of our personalities with maybe certain, ideas or whatever situations it might be. And I actually feel like that's just being quite well boundaried, knowing ourselves and having a solid sense of self. But there's also something here where I actually feel like you're quite soft, like the malleable or mutable kind of version of like the mutable signs, like Pisces is coming through. It's like, it's very much like Aquarius and Pisces is kind of what I'm getting. We have Libra here as well. Libra is cardinal, so it's not going to fit the bill there. But for what I'm actually talking about, and it doesn't have to be this exact stuff, right? I don't know why. I think maybe most of you kind of understand it, but I feel like I have someone here who really hangs on the words that I say, and I feel like I need to say it. I need to either reassure you, I either need to articulate it so precise and accurately that it can't possibly be misconstrued or misunderstood, or it's like I need to just make sure I'm doing a good job explaining it. And I have to say, guys, like as a reader doing these videos, and I watch other readers as well, right? Not all the time, but I have times where I do. And when I do watch other readers, I'm always blown away by how effective in communication they are in terms of like, vocabulary, word choice, having the ability to communicate what they mean in such a clear, concise way. And there's not like, they understand at a fundamental level the meanings of the words that they're using. And I'm a person who's not really educated. I've grown up on kind of getting the gist of things, and I think it shows, right? And I think it's really important to be mindful that even if there are times where I say words that might give the appearance that I have a better vocabulary than I do, or I might be more intelligent than I am, that I'm at the end of the day still just a human being, and I'm just kind of a product of my environment, and I will try to do better as I get further through this, okay? Like my goal's not to stay in this stagnation point. So that this whole everything I've just explained to you could also be something that this person is, I don't know if it's like an overlooking or if there's like a trying to explain something to someone that they're not getting as well, okay? And I'm not saying this directly as a reflection of what I just said. I feel like that was a specific message I had to pass on for my viewer, but I'm now splitting off, going back to the reading, that something to do with this friend, there could be something here that's kind of misunderstood. It's just, I feel like the more I try to explain it, the more of a loss I feel I am at. So there could be something here where, is it is it this friend trying to explain it, or is it you trying to explain something to the friend? Okay, so I feel like this friend may not understand why you have left them answerless. Like, that's not a word, but like this friend may not understand how you have left them without an explanation, or how you have come about the choices that you have, or how you formulated the ideas and opinions that you have, or how you have it's like you've said something and you're kind of like, I said what I said, and you don't go into the information. But I actually feel like, contrary to the message I was getting, that wouldn't have come through if it wasn't easy, like it wasn't going to be understood, right? Contrary to that, it feels like there's something here that maybe the level of another person's understanding is just not quite there. And so, or there's, you know that regardless of how, even if they are capable of understanding it, there's something here in their own judgment or their own filter of the lens they view the world, or their own situation, something like that. This is like how intricate it's getting, right? This is what I'm saying about how much there's too much attention on you, right? Like they're just paying too much attention to the things you say and do and the choices that you make, where it's like, explaining it's not going to be helpful. It comes a point where it's like you're drawing a line in the sand because explaining it's not going to be helpful. And I think they are trying to communicate this. This is part of what they're trying to say to this friend, but I don't think they understand what's happening as to why you've drawn a line. But they're just trying to communicate that you have drawn a line of some type, or you've made a judgment call yourself, and it seems kind of judgmental, but they just don't understand where it's come from, and you're not explaining it, or something like that. All right. Okay, that being said, I'm sorry. I know that was super, I don't know, sometimes it's painful trying to get through messages like that, but that's part of the message, and it's where we're going. Okay, so what do we need to know about the Hangman? I think it's important to just go back to the fact we remember that this person is very intrigued by potentially how you navigate the world, philosophies that you have, maybe transcendent. There's a strong energy here I have of elevation. So on one hand, you could have quite elevated thinking. On the other hand, there could be something here about your nature that's quite transcendent, and they're still kind of trying to work it out. And they could be on their own transcended journey. And at times they may feel a little bit like cut down or not seen by some of the things, opinions, thoughts, views that you have. I don't know what that is. Maybe you've said certain things and it's not even been about them, or in response to something that they've said, but you've just said a worldview, and then it's making them go back to the drawing board. But there could be a level of like, oh, like, I don't know. There's something here too. I don't know how this person could be sizing you up a little bit. There's something else here. What is it that I'm not? It's going to take a moment, try to ground this and see what else we get. I just heard muddled thinking, okay? So it feels like it's kind of that simple. But like this person's just got muddled thinking, and they're not quite... Was it that groups, threes, friends, or friend the same? I just, like, Spirit literally said they don't need to say anymore, like they've said enough. So it's kind of at a point where this person's talked the situation, they just need to stop talking about it, kind of thing. And they may find themselves in a position where they either don't have other people to... we are going to take more cards. I don't know if they don't have people that they can talk to about it, or if it's because of this, they know they're paying too much attention. It would be awkward for them to kind of admit too far into that. Well, we've got fake flexing and grudge holder here. So there's definitely something that feels like this person's holding on to that they can't seem to, get past. And that could be part of this paying attention to. But this fake flexing... There could be something here where they... This is meant to be a reading of like what they are saying, what group three's friends saying about them. I think this is just part of what this person's doing. It's not what they're saying about you, where this person could have a tendency to just kind of put on a good front, like everything's cool and like they're doing really well or showing off in some sense. And so they're just, it's coming back to this kind of foundation where they're at when they actually start talking about you, because they've maybe not seen people who are not so worried with this kind of fake flexing thing. Like there may be, it's kind of weird. It's almost like there's a judgment around why you wouldn't live this fake flexing life or something like that. Yeah, anyway, I feel like we've talked this to death with what this, and I mean, it kind of feels like that a bit for this person as well. Feels like we're kind of hitting a wall. Again, representative of the situation with this person. I hope that this is helpful and insightful to you. I know we talked about zodiacs with judgment before. I said it was like coming out as Libra, and that's incorrect. That's actually the Justice card, but I do want to take Libra because I feel like it's still mentioned for a purpose, right? Judgment is actually Pluto. So this could be this person's own way of discovering their own like sort of subconscious stuff coming up a little bit through what they're seeing. But it's also something about your Pluto. So it could be how your Plutos are kind of interacting with each other in terms of symmetry in your charts. But so we have Pluto here, so we can definitely talk about Scorpio. We have the Hangman here with Pisces, and we have Aquarius. So water and air energy mostly. I mean, I do have this card is like Libra marked and earth signs. I don't know. Guys, take it for what it is. Hopefully this is helpful. I'll see you in another one. Take care of yourselves, and if the video resonates, leave it a like. Bye.